I featured these firefly lights fairly recently in a video, and rather predictably, having left it outside in the rain deliberately, I mean they are garden lights, I put a few of them out and I expected water to get in, and it didn't disappoint me. Now, I wondered, was water going to get in round the solar panel? Was it going to get in round these little holes that are in the side here? Or was it going to get sucked up with capillary action and the expansion contraction of air inside this, which has that's a major problem with water getting into industrial outdoor equipment. So let's open it up and find out how the water's getting, because this one has died now, so it's time. Yeah, let's take the water out of that. And we'll find out where the water's getting in and see if there's a good way to actually make them waterproof. I have had success with other lights using a sort of industrial 3M style garden tape. I think it's used for putting together polythene cloches and stuff like that. You know, taping things together in the garden, and it's a ultraviolet stable, fairly thick plasticky tape. It's not like sellotape, it's really quite a thick, almost gel feeling tape. And this sticks well, and I've had this in lights for about a year now, and it's been doing a great job. So this is a possibility, if it's a solar panel. We'll know when we get inside. So I'm just going to undo this little clip here. I'm going to take this apart. They are, they've got a tiny solar panel on the top, but they last a really long time. They really last well. Oh, that's not looking good. I would say, oh, hold on. Is this a bit of wire, Is this a hole right through, or? No, it doesn't go right through, so it's not through those holes. I think the solar panel's been letting the water in. There's one way to find out, and that's to clean this up. Well, it has. It's been dripping, because if it was just wicking up by capillary action, it would just be going up the sides and into here. Although, having said that, you have to consider that when water gets into these, then it gets warm during the day. It turns into vapour, and that can carry the water up further. I'm looking at the possibility of it being the solar panel here, though. The only way I can think of doing this is cupping my mouth round it and sort of blowing. That's a terrible idea. It's very unhygienic and I'll never make a good seal, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. Oh yes, absolutely. I can hear the air. When I put my fingers over that, I can hear the air hissing out round the solar panel. Oh, and the wires come off. Right, so it looks like if you get these, it's a good idea to put something over this. Either put some glue or something. I wonder if nail varnish would work in that. There's only one way to find out, and that's to try various things. Clear nail varnish is quite a tempting idea. That might, I think this is metallized plastic, so it should actually form a seal and it would stay clear. I'm not sure how stable that's going to be, but there's only one way to find out. So I'm going to try possibly nail varnish on some of these and tape on the others, but I'm going to try and fix this one as well. So yes, good to find out, because these lights, as I say, they last all night. Seriously, I often stay up really late at night. Well, okay, I say late at night. I go to bed sometimes 6 or 8 in the morning, just depending on what I'm doing during the day. And quite often, as dawn is breaking, these lights have still been alight at much lower intensity. They really do last, quite visibly with little dots of light in the coloured globes. They do seem to last. It's surprising given the size of the solar cell. But yeah, I'm going to try some things right now. Okay, one thoroughly enjoyable play around later. I've reincarnated this light. I've tried 2 different things. I've tried the lacquer, and it seems to work okay. It seems to go right down and seal. Not sure how well that will stand up to the weather. The tape is, to be honest, one of the easiest to put on. Let me show you how easy it is to put a bit of tape on. So this is what's actually called all-weather clear tape, and it's designed for repairing glass and headlamps and garden stuff like cloches and polytunnels and stuff like that. And if you get a bit of this and you clean the end of the light, and then place a bit of tape, just a generously sized bit of tape over, and then just sort of spread it around to actually seal that on. And then you get a very sharp knife and you cut towards your thumb and not your chum. Sorry, Eve. And you just basically just run it round the outside like this. Slight sawing motion just if it sticks and gets stuck to the tape. And that will result in a fairly... This is one of the easiest fixes to do in situ. And that will give you basically a protective disc of the tape covering the solar panel and sealing it right round that outer area. We'll see how the nail varnish holds up. This was just generic Jess nail polish. It's just clear nail polish. I occasionally buy a bottle of it. It's quite useful just for sealing things up or securing things in place. It's just quite handy as a sort of clear lacquer. And that did seem to flow down quite well. However, the circuit board in this one, when I removed all the corrosion, it had eaten its way through one of the leads of the little chip, which is a bit of a shame. Which meant that I could have tried tacking on something on there, but I decided, since Poundland does these other little solar lights that are £2 for £1, they're just tiny little sort of ornamental lights, with interestingly a slightly higher value of inductor. These ones are 330 microhenry, these ones are 470 microhenry, so these lights will probably be just a little bit dimmer as a result, but it's not really going to be a major thing. It means the battery's going to last longer. But the circuit board inside is slightly different track layout, but it seems to have a roughly similar form factor, and it seems to fit in. So that's an easy fix, and you just need to tack on these lights in place of the original LED, and tack on the solar panel in place of the original solar panel connections from that light. And you get a free solar panel, though. You end up, if you play about with solar lights a lot, you'll end up with lots of these little solar panels, and they're not terribly easy to retrieve out of these things without ripping the wires off the back. But so they're just a binnable item. They're kind of mass produced. It's not that critical. The other thing I did here, I drilled a hole in the bottom. I used a 3mm hole drill, I think. The other thing to make a hole, you could use a soldering iron, but I do recommend not using your favourite bit for making holes in plastic. If you're going to make holes in plastic, get a generic spare bit and just put it on for that task, because the soldering, the plastic can actually corrode the tip and actually spoil its ability to take solder. But the other thing to do in situ is to drill it, and this is where drilling onto a curved object is always a bad idea while you're holding it, so take extra precautions to go really slowly. Because if that drill slips, it will inevitably go into your hand. And just make a hole in the bottom of the light. I'm not sure. That's certainly going to allow the water to drain out as helped by the pumping action. It's a very small hole. I was going to put a bigger one in, because surface tension can actually, even with that 3mm hole, you'll see probably if water gets in, it'll still lie in it. And it's just because that surface tension stops water going through small holes. It stops it going through big holes. Even a 10mm hole, you can find the water forms a sort of film, the meniscus around the edge, that it just doesn't go through. But with the thermal expansion and contraction of the air inside, that should have a pumping action. It should blow water out. It'll probably suck water in as well, but most of it will be blowing water out. That also lets the condensation inside. It gives it a path to get out and the air to circulate. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to get all the other lights in the garden in. I'm going to give them at least, the very least, I'm going to check them for corrosion, spray them with a bit of WD-40 inside if they are corroded, just to try and displace that sort of water off them and put a film of oil on them. And then I'm going to clean the top off and put the tape on, or maybe even just some of the others. I'll also try the lacquer. But I like these lights. They last a long time. They're not super bright, but they look very visual. It's just 4 little points of light inside the globe, and it just looks nice. So I'm going to actually try and make sure these are weather resilient. All solar lights tend to have weaknesses for moisture ingress, so identifying those issues at the beginning, and if you guys get some of these lights, then you know what to do to prepare them in advance to make them last as long as possible. But yes, so these will be going out tomorrow. Yep, it's a good fix, I think, but time will tell.